A very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to uLaw CPD webinar. The topic for today's session is everything practice management. As you all know, this is entitled for a 1 hour of proficiency in CPD credits. I'll be posting the CPD attendance link as well as the topic details on the chat window. Please do not worry if you're just joined in or you're joining in later. Just use the chat window at any time to ask your questions. And I would try and post the CPD attendance link and the topic details probably every 15 to 20 minutes once. And I'm definitely going to share it probably towards the end as well. Thank you. And please hang in tight until others join in. It's probably taking them a bit to log into the system or the meeting. So I'll probably wait another couple of minutes to get started. Thank you. It'd be nice if one of you could please let me know on the chat window if I'm audible, if my voice is clear, you find any disturbance, or just, a little hint would be great. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Thanks so much for that. Okay, I'm going to get started off with introducing you all to the agenda for today's webinar. As you all can see, the topic talks about everything under practice for a better practice management, of course, from a standpoint of law society compliances when it comes to professional obligations that needs to be fulfilled by every professional, including a paralegal and a lawyer, reporting to law society, reporting about various activities that they have dealt with, including a client intake, managing file or a matter, their business, the finances, which is about the accounting, money in the trust, money in the general, and the transactions between both trust and general, and how do you handle a client's funds or fund, and then how do you manage your own time? Do you use a calendar? And the overall picture about there's a work-life balance about personal management versus time management and business management. We're going to talk about a few different things, mostly I would say a high-level picture of all of these subtopics or under the agenda for today's topic, which is everything practice management. I would primarily focus on the first three which is the core areas when it comes to a practice in the eyes of law society. And definitely the rest four are for betterment of your own practice. And I personally feel that the last four subtopics that you see under the agenda helps you to be professionally, compliant with all the obligations on the first three of today's agenda. So if you are able to manage your business well, your profession well, managing the time and the personal management, this will help you to do a better client intake, a better service and communication, better file management or matter management, better financial management, and, overall enhancement in your day-to-day operations is seen only if the last four, which I did not include as part of the core areas of today's topic, right? Because, each and every person's business way of managing the business, as well as the profession and time and personal management is totally different. Whereas there are some ways and means of client intake and service and communication. There are some stipulated ways in which you can do certain things. So if you are pretty clear about how you run your business and manage your time, the other three things, managing the file and finances and the client, falls into the place. So I would say it that way because, most of us don't pay that much attention to managing our calendars or, personal time versus the professional time and other things. So it's never too late. You should consider, looking into those aspects as well, while, syncing your work calendar and personal calendar using a practice management software that allows you to do all of this, right? Because nobody has the time to sit and do things manually in today's fast world. Whereas if you use a software that would help you to literally do all of this by syncing an existing calendar into your own program's calendar, and that would do all the work for you, right? It will pop up the window saying that, hey, you have a meeting coming up in the next 5 minutes. Hey, you have you're done with this call with the client. Do you want to docket it? Do you want to book your next meeting with them? That is the kind of, world we are in today that prompts you to, do all of this in a fast pace than, wait behind and do it afterwards and forget it and still not be compliant with law society and multiple other things that acts like a chain reaction to one of things that you would have missed in a small meeting or something. So that being aside, let us now come back into the main area of focus, which is client intake, service, and communication. One of my favorite subtopics that I would suggest all of you to, in fact, maybe start off with your firm when it comes to intaking a client. Now, every single person has a different method or different option that they adopt when it comes to intaking a client. Now, some people like to do manually, some people, which is still old school method, which still many of them like, you have a paper pen, make your client come into the office, sit and fill in the information, and then, upload it into your database and go on, right? So it's a very detailed method of client intake, service, and communication. Not many still prefer that. People have started moving on, especially because there's, not many people meet these days. Post-COVID, things have gone online. Everybody is doing online client intake, virtual client intake, and, virtual verification that Law Society has brought in. There's so much that has gone virtually today, post-2020, where, people are limiting their travel, their meeting in person, quite a lot of things. So that, brings a little process behind having to do a virtual intake, client intake, virtual verification of their client IDs or, their background and other things, where you will have to make sure that, all of this is done alongside, whether you've done the conflict checks, whether you have determined how you're going to collect the fee from there. Are you doing a retainer here? Have you built your retainer letter? Do you need to add in any points there? Do you need to, not collect a retainer, just invoice the client and get the money into the general account, tension free, but at the same time, you're putting in your hard work and efforts even before you trust them and sign a retainer or something. But, you raise an invoice and then collect the money into the general. There's a little bit of risk involved in there, but it's more hassle-free because your requirement for maintaining the books of accounts is much lesser. So we're going to discuss all of this under the financial management when we go into the third or the fourth subtopic for today's session. Coming back to it, have you decided how you are going to engage with this client? Those are the primary things that needs to rather come into your mind when it comes to client intake, service, and communication. Like I said, this is a very versatile topic versatile subtopic. One could choose an online intake. One could choose somebody coming on a website and clicking on certain, clicking on a certain link and asking them to fill in the forms and submit it to you, and then you verify, and then you decide how you're going to charge them. And then you and your client get into an agreement, sign the letter, and then you move on with the work. So now all of this happens well and good, but if it doesn't happen, what needs to be done? Straight away provide a non-engagement letter first thing, because you don't want anybody coming back at you saying, hey, you know what, I contacted you, I thought you were going to take care of my proceedings, but you know what, because of you, because I banked on you, I never, went with the process and all of those. They're going to get back at you, basically, right? So to avoid such scenarios, you would need to provide the prospective client, I won't call as a client, the prospective client a non-engagement letter, because you and them are not getting into any further contact regarding their services. So please remember, an engagement letter is when somebody comes to you and you engage with them, you collect fee, you decide to go ahead with the filing and other things, proceedings. So there you see an engagement letter or a retainer letter into picture. However, when you don't get into a matter or proceedings further for a prospective client, you should be able to issue a non-engagement letter stating that you are no more obliged to, listen to them, or you're not responsible for any act on their behalf, and etc. Now, many times it could slip our mind to send such non-engagement letters, but please keep in your mind that a non-engagement letter is as important as an engagement letter to convey to your client, or a prospective client rather, that you and I are done here. We don't have anything more going forward. I'm not talking about a closing letter or something, but this is a non-engagement letter. If you are all using a software, you would probably be able to understand what I'm talking about. So keep that in mind whenever you're in the process of intaking a new client. Now, moving on to the retainer agreement, we're talking about client intake, service, and communication still. Now, when you are done with intaking a client, verifying their client IDs, and then doing the conflict checks, everything, et cetera, done, The next step is you're keen to get that retainer into your pocket so that you're safe. You start with the work, and then you move on to billing the client, and then you make that money yours. So that step is what I really like. You want to make that money yours, but it is not like when the money is in trust, it's going to directly get into your pocket. There's some work to be done. There are some steps to be followed. So you will not want to miss one thing before you complete the entire process and make that money yours. So in order to do that, it starts off with a retainer agreement, making sure you include all of these following points, including what does this matter? What are your responsibilities? What are your client's responsibilities? How do you plan to schedule any course of representation? How many times a week would you like to communicate with them? What are the retainer arrangements? Are you planning to get the money into the trust? Yes, that's why it's called as a retainer. How do you plan to get in? Do you want to get the money in one single payment, or do you want to ask them for a retainer replenishment, or how do you want to do all of this is what comes under the retainer arrangement. Worst case scenario, what happens when this contract is terminated? So very important clause under a retainer agreement. Many times we tend to miss. So please make sure that one of these points, all of these points are pretty important. That's probably why Law Society laid it out. But I would say that they're all very sensible, practical points that needs to go on one's retainer agreement. I know that your client doesn't want to read a 4-page agreement, but at least you don't want to keep them all in the dark. And, at the end of the day, you take it to them and say, oh, you know what, this was actually part of a retainer agreement, but it was not made aware to you as a point, but it is hidden or something like that. So in order to not end up with such circumstances, you want to just make sure you want to keep these points in mind and build a retainer agreement that is probably precise, at the same time also important to cover all of these points. So now it's I would say it's a little bit of your headache to make sure to make a template of this sort, including all of these points. Or yes, you are welcome to use one of these templates that are available in all of our softwares where, there's a retainer agreement template. You just pick that, enter your stuff, and then keep moving on. But bottom line of the story, a retainer agreement needs to carry these important points, right from nature, scope, responsibilities to frequency of communication to retainer arrangements, termination details, confidentiality agreement, and any risks associated with the method of communication that you adopt, which could be email, could be hacked, phone call could be tapped. There's so many things. Yes, I know I'm talking about things that are very rare incidents that could happen, but these are just, you want to make it aware to your client about any risks associated with the client intake, service, and communication at the very first instance, which is your retainer agreement. I think that is the only piece of agreement that holds you and binds you and your client. There's no other agreement that comes into the picture as strong as a retainer agreement. That is probably why Law Society talks about retainer agreements so important, or rather so high. So please keep that in mind when you are preparing your own template to, your future clients or prospective clients. So let's say now your intake is done. Which means that you have provided your client with a virtual client verification, as well as a conflict check was done, a retainer agreement was signed, you have collected the retainer into the trust account. Now comes into the picture the file management. How do you start with it? Do you have a file checklist? Do you have are you planning to do the docketing from a software, or are you planning to do a timesheet manually? trust me now, nobody does things manually. Everything is automated. Everything is on system. People want to be super quick. It's not just you, it's also the opposite person who's sitting, across the table wants to get it done in no time and move on. So things are super fast, and that is one of the reasons why people adopt a software to do things on their behalf, because they can actually do more work in less time, right? To be precise. Now, when it comes to file management, what are the things that is there in your mind to get done? First thing, you want to have a checklist. You want to make sure you have all the documents in one place. Then you want to make sure that the conflict check is done, and you put that into the file, and then you move on to opening a matter or a file with a respective file number. You have a cross-indexed number across for each and every file. They're all secured, chronologically secured, and all of those personal records of each client are docketed, they are recorded. If there are any slips or anything that needs to be attached to your file. I mean, again, not in the literal sense, but it could be on a virtual or a cloud platform, such as a Google Drive or a OneDrive. You connect them to your software, you have them all under one file or a matter. That way, all your client interactions and data may be something related to their own file, or something related to their driver's license, anything. Any interactions with your client should be docketed, should be recorded, so that in the future you can make sure that the client has all the information. So you have all the information about your client in one proper place. Now, and other than that, definitely you want to make sure all of the data and the files are organized chronologically with secured numbering system. You probably want to choose an alphanumeric numbering system, and you want to make sure that all of them are added into the respective indexing. So just make sure that you have them all in one place. While that is being done, now you also have the financial management coming into picture, because let's say you're done with the intake and then you have opened the file. There's a file number. Every single client, even though the same client is coming back to you, they would have a new file number. It's not the client number we're talking about. The file number is what we're talking about. And the next thing is proper fee scheduling that needs to be done. Choosing whether you would like to do an hourly rate or a flat rate, and ensuring that you're adding in the dockets into that particular file or matter, raising invoices and delivering it to the client, making sure you've invoiced with a specific time period, and according to the retainer agreement, whether there are any arrangements and any payment terms, and then the systematic tracking of overpayments on accounts, if there's anything. All of them needs to be recorded from time to time. I also have the recording of general accounts through general receipts and disbursement entries, maintenance of original bank statements, if anything, electronically, if not in the physical file, any cancelled check, duplicate deposit slips, everything to be maintained for your audit purposes. Again, if you don't want to have the paper trail, you can always make efforts to make them electronic and save it into your drive and maintain all the records forever. All of this, end of the day, is going to help you prepare balance sheets, trial balance, income and expense statement to ensure that your firm's health is at its best. Now, of course, you're not going to sit and do the double entry system yourself when you're keying in the transactions. If you're using a software, that would at the back end prepare all of these statements and provide you with the numbers automatically. It will in fact tell you that, okay, so this is what you have spent under this particular expense category. This is what you have made under this particular legal field. Let's say if you have 2 to 3 of them, that area of practices, and you want to make sure that you add them all together and make an average, and it tells you this is what you've made under each of your management system, and it will also help you to take a better decision to guard your firm's health. So financial management is not just about the client or you, it's about the overall firm's health too. That makes more meaning to, maintaining the books of accounts. Now, let's say you've gotten everything in here, and you are pretty clear about what needs to be done in a file. You have the client who's paid you the retainer, you've started the work, you've invoiced the client, you've transferred the money to your general account, and you still have more coming up with the client. So you've only raised an interim billing, but you have more to do. So at least you're moving on with the retainer arrangement that we spoke about, and there comes into picture financial management with other ledgers and trust accounts to receive monies, just to make sure that you have all of these ledgers and journals with all the details of your clients' info. That includes the money that has come in, the money that has gone out, the money that has been used, and which means also your disbursements, right? So when you get the money into the trust account, you spend some towards disbursements, some towards your own legal fee, and then the remaining either goes back to them or there's no trust balance for each and every client. So when you draw a ledger, it very clearly tells you that these are receipts, these are payments, and then when it goes to journal, it drills down further saying these are the receipts under the trust, these are the receipts under the general, these are the disbursements under the trust, and these are the disbursements under general. So you have more drill down version when it comes to a journal, and the trust is just pretty straightforward with, the ledger is just pretty straightforward with only receipts and payments, not otherwise. Now, going back into how you work with these ledgers and journals, what does it do when it comes to financial management and making sure that you've added all the information for your upcoming client to be for the upcoming file to be uploaded into the drive, so that you have all of the information in one place. So let's say you're being audited, or let's say you want to file your taxes, or file your annual report to the end of the year. So you don't have to literally go file wise, but at least you can just go into these documents, which are ledgers and journals, and prepare all of them in one go. And that would provide you with all the information and help you prepare these reports as well simultaneously. Now, as you progress in there, the other point that we were discussing earlier was business management. Now, I was telling you that for a business management, you definitely need to consider using a software that would help you to make these reports in no time. So it'll allow you to make the actual work, it'll allow you to do the actual work and be efficient and use a secured filing system, and all of those done, most importantly, remotely, and accessing all of the data at one time. That is one of the reasons why people use a software that manages their business well. So that would also help you to make a decision on, all of these tough days where you don't want to work too much on the business side, but at the same time, you want to make sure your clients gets enough idea of what is happening in their file. Like, you prepare a ledger, you prepare a journal, you prepare a statement of activity and give it to them saying this is what is happening since day one, and this is what we owe you, or this is what you owe us, and more. So all of these can be done within no time, and for which you need a better business management, and you also need a good software, making sure everything is secured, and making sure all of them are with robust security and more. So please ensure that if you are looking to manage your business well, you want to have all of these, especially a proper software in place. When I mean a proper software, of course, you need to ensure that it's part of the Law Society compliances and more. Let's talk about the professional management here. So the professional management, like you all know, right now what is happening is we're all working on a CPD hour, and also reviewing all the new legislations and case laws from time to time, having all the professional conduct guidelines, and making sure that your membership is being renewed from time to time. These are part of the professional management, making sure that, from every now and then you have all of the professional obligations fulfilled, and ensuring that you stay compliant with the Law Society. As part of the time management, now we earlier spoke about your to-do list, or in fact a calendar that can be synchronized. Now that is something I feel will help you in a long run, where you have a calendar which is your personal calendar that can be synchronized, any calendar, your personal, your official, your email calendar, whatever, that can be synchronized with the software's calendar, so that the software can show you what is your upcoming meeting, what is your upcoming court hearing, and do you have anything coming up in the next few days, and how do you plan for it? And all your upcoming meetings are shown up in the dashboard, which is even more simpler for you to take a call as to what you have to do in the upcoming days. So all of this as part of time management helps you to save more time, and it will definitely help you to do the maintenance of all of the to-do list and active files. So many a times we tend to miss these marking files as active and inactive. I think one of the things that would really help you to go a long way is to ensuring that you're marking each and every file as an active file or an inactive file. Or when an inactive file needs to be marked as whether it's closed or whether it's open, and if it needs to be anything else that needs to be done, you can leave the file open. But if it's completely done, please make sure that the file is closed, and that will give you all of those, I would say, filtering them as active and inactive makes you save a lot of time, and you just manage them better. So that's also part of the time management. Otherwise, you're going to sit and search all of those files which are even open, and you don't even know what you're looking at the end of the day if you have too many files and they're all open rather closed. And that really makes it a lot of difference too. Now, being part of active management of files and making sure whether they're open and closed, and maintaining a to-do list, entering all your upcoming hearings and upcoming client meetings and court filing, other things as part of the to-do list, and all of your time dockets, all of your non-billable dockets, anything that is more like let's say, like a pro bono case or pro bono files. You want to make sure that you actually highlight them and still add them under time dockets, but as non-billable time dockets, right? Those are called as pro bono. So those actually help you when it comes to end of the year, you're filing your annual report. There's actually a column where they ask you for, have you done any pro bono there? Have you completed certain hours? How much have you, gotten done there and other things? So you just want to make sure that, non-billable can still come under pro bono, and you want to make sure everything is taken care by adding in those time and over there. All right. Now, last part of today's session, I would say, is the personal management and calendar management. We already spoke about, time management, but we'll talk about the calendar management when I get there. Personal management is something, like I said, it's too personal. It's something that varies from people to one person to the other person, but this is something that you really need to work on, because it will help you save more time, and it will also help you to enjoy your practice more. And when things are streamlined and they're more enjoyable, and you have a sense of satisfaction, and you also have that recording of your time that you've spent, so you know that you have spent all of this time ensuring a proper work-life balance and ensuring that the stress management has been there and it's pretty relevant. So end of the day, ensuring a proper work-life balance is something we're all working towards, right? So you want to make sure that you have your software in place, you have a proper method of working, you have a proper calendar synchronized, you have been following your professional management obligations, including attending your CPD hours, collecting your information regarding new legislations. But at the same time, you also have a personal life. You know when you're going to take a vacation. You plan things ahead by at least few months, if not a year. It's too much to do that way. And you are also satisfied with all of those growth and progress and financial success for your practice, by which you're able to decide what do you plan to do in your upcoming file, you're able to think clear, to be precise about that. So personal management, even though it is not something that Law Society holds you responsible for, but it is something that is definitely interconnected with your performance, with fulfilling your other obligations, with ensuring you're compliant with Law Society. So they're all, end of the day, definitely interconnected, definitely responsible for fulfillment of other duties and responsibilities, and delivering the best to your clients and keeping yourselves compliant with Law Society. And your end of the day, your business is healthy when you are healthy, and that is why we have personal management as actually part of professional obligations to be considered as part of today's topic. Now, considering other two subtopics, which is benefits of practice management which is definitely the best. As you all can see, it helps you with total cost of ownership. It helps you to practice from anywhere. It helps you with the best LSUC compliances we have here. So you have everything, including a great efficiency in practice, because you're able to maximize your legal work and minimize the practice management work, because when you start using automated features that are available in the program will do, or the software will do the work for you while you sit back and work on your own stuff, right? Like, you don't literally have to sit and prepare ledgers and journals yourself. Just give me one moment, please. Thank you. Sorry about that. All right, so far we've seen 4 important things, which includes managing your dockets. Of course, managing your client intake, with file management, including docketing and invoicing, ensuring your files are organized and your finances are organized, and all of those matter status being updated from time to time, whether it's open or closed, whether there's money in the trust or not, whether your client owes you money or you owe them back, which is refund, everything to be noted down into the file, and which definitely our practice management software helps you to achieve with all of these information in one go. Literally, when you add in information into the file, it goes across the accounting platform. So you're not requiring to go in and complete every other thing while we do the work for you within matter of minutes and simple click of button, and all that you need to do is sit back and literally watch us provide you the statements. And of course, it's not a magic. You definitely need to give us inputs for us to give you outputs. So make sure that you choose a wise software in order to provide you with such outputs within no time. Now, calendar management, we spoke about time management, about syncing your personal calendars and, making sure you have a calendar from your software to view all your agenda, your daily, weekly, monthly agenda. And as part of that is matter docketed in calendars. And let's say that this calendar management is definitely going to help you with achieving your required compliances by Law Society in no time. So a calendar management definitely helps you keep track of all of the upcoming events, and including all of those court hearings, client meetings. If you want to even have something like a scratch pad to, get things noted down and then add them to the matter directly from the calendar. There are quite a lot of things that are developed in today's software that helps you to take actions with take action and take multiple actions, in fact, at a very minimal time. Now, I know practice does not, just mean taking care of clients and servicing, communicating with them and ensuring their finances are taken care and your billing and invoices are taken care. And it's not just that. Obviously, you have forms that needs to be fulfilled, that needs to be completed. Now, as part of uLaw, we have our platform has code forms, and let's say some of the forms that we have you don't use, but you need some forms. You can also use automate your own forms in uLaw that enables you to pre-populate all the details of your file and matter, because obviously you've entered them while you created the client and the file. So we import all the information as part of the pre-populated matter file, and uLawPractice also helps you generate all of these as part of the form generator, which is definitely compliant with Law Society. So as part of today's topic, I just want to let you all know, because I represent uLawPractice and I am from uLaw, and want to let you all know that if you are using uLaw, great. You can please put it to the best use with all of these features we discussed today. I'm definitely going to use my last 10 minutes to walk you all through how it looks in uLaw. But before that, if you're not using uLaw, I would highly recommend you to, especially when it comes to seamless accounting, seamless integration of accounting, and all of those analytical reports that we print for you, all of those compliance reports that we print for you, and it's just downloadable within a finger click. Before which, of course, you need to, like I said, provide us with inputs for us to provide you with outputs, and ensuring you have the best of all for you to be professionally obligated with Law Society from all of the aspects that we discussed today. Please allow me to walk you through how it looks at the uLaw site. We spoke about a few compliances and, professional obligations that needs to be fulfilled by Law Society, and definitely one of them starts off with client intake, service, and communication. Now, if you're using a client intake, using a client portal, you could use a client portal here. Just fill in your client's email ID, a secret key, generate a link, send it to them, and then they can just fill out the form and submit it back to you for you to just, take action and open a file. Besides that, we also have a client intake form that you can download and send it to your client and ask them to fill the form and send it back to you. While that is being done, the other side of it talks about, compliances with conflict check, virtual verification, source of contact, and other things, which needs to be fulfilled simply by just clicking on compliance, download, and ensuring all matters are screened and everything is done right there. And a little more. Just give me 1 second and see it coming up. That's it. So your conflict check is done within no time, and all that you need to do is simply, just add in your information and your client's information and download it for your compliance purposes. When you go back in there, just have to click on Matters. Now, for the next level of compliances, you can start off with adding the file details. You add in the file numbers file information, and then the number gets populated automatically. As you see on the top, it's an alphanumeric number. You only have to add in information such as the matter title, what is the area of practice, is there a code file number, and hourly rate and more. So as you keep moving on, you can also see there's flat rate and there's billable time at the bottom. So all of these dockets are unique. You can very clearly see that you can add in dockets as per your requirement for that specific client. Same client could have a legal fee as a flat rate, as a billable time, as also pro bono if there's an initial client meeting. So now you just need to add them all and, one at a time. So just making sure that all those events are recorded, invoiced by simply clicking on invoice, complete the invoice, and then you can transfer the money that is lying in the trust by, clicking on trust tab or clicking on question mark in the center of the page. So there are these options that would make you feel, a bit confused as to which one to it. Just follow these tabs with the names as you see on top of each tab. It suggests you to click on the trust tab to see what is in the trust, what has happened in the trust for this particular client. What can you deposit or what can you withdraw? What is the balance? Everything is there clearly under the description, under these reports. And likewise, you can, it's for the general account too, whether you want to deposit money into the general or you want to withdraw money from general. How do you like to do it? So it is important for you, to add all of the deposits and withdrawals from, general, and you just need to simply come into the particular client and the file and their file and add in information as deposit or withdrawal and move on. Now, obviously, you're going to raise an invoice before you transfer the money from trust to the general, and you make that money yours. But when there's money in the general, if you want to withdraw from general, there are a few particular things that you can do. And what is it? Is it a disbursement? Is it a refund that you're providing to the client? You need to specify. You just cannot take out money out of a client's account. So these are things that would, generally made as a mistake, which can be avoided by thinking twice before you take an action. So, think before you take an action so you're not out of compliance from law society's eye, and you are still very much under compliance if you're able to follow them to the extent that we discussed today. Now, at the end, it's about accounting. End of the day, how much money have I made? How much profit have I made? Have I been able to reconcile my books? Are they up to date? Have I, been able to send my clients the statements that they requested for, submit my reports to Law Society? And if you're being audited, am I able to extract all the documents that I need? Now, obviously, you're not going to sit and write or type or, do things manually. But, when you are here, you just come into the respective areas, click on download and keep moving on, whether it's a ledger or it's a journal or it's a reconciliation document. Likewise, when it comes to document generation for whether GL or, balance sheet, file balance, other fee books, expense book, revenue reports, everything here for you to just simply make a note of what needs to be done and how it needs to be added in and more. Now, end of the day, it boils down to a fact that am I able to reconcile my books? Or if I'm not able to reconcile my books, what is needed from my end? What needs to be, done to rectify the error? Now, it's not that people will not make mistakes, or we're all, end of the day, human beings. We do make mistakes. We do make errors, but it should be in a rectifiable format. You should be able to, that is one of the reasons why Law Society is asking you to reconcile your books on a monthly basis. So even if you have made any error, you try to fix it in the following month, and probably you're not kind of out of compliance for a long time. That's what I mean. So make sure that you add in information into your system and complete the compliances or reconciliation every now and then. Okay. So alongside with that, we also have calendar, and this talks about Scratchpad in here. I love this feature in our platform. It just allows you to add rows, and then you just simply add in title saying add a client meeting, and then I can also do a little description here. Met with client, discuss upcoming hearing, and just say I was on call with them or met them, right? So maybe for 36 minutes, and I am going to add a new event, and it immediately pops up saying, oh, okay, so who's your client? Okay, yeah, so great. Just add it, save it, keep moving on to the next one. The best part is you can just keep moving on. That's the whole part of the Scratchpad, right? So when you're done with this, you can just simply click on, it's still loading. You all can see in the background, so it's just loading. And you can just get done with that and then move on to the next one. Or you can even do it all at the same time and then, delete it later. So that's how it looks. So try and use these features that makes you save a lot of time. Of course, sync your calendar, and then you can also generate reports that would give you details on what is your work in progress, any compliances, reports that will show you something like pro bono for this month or pro bono for this entire year. And you can just download it, or you can also show, and because like I said, this is one of the fields that you need to fill out in the annual report. And it helps you to collect information within no time. So this is what I've done as pro bono, 2 hours and 24 minutes. Within a minute, I could show you all this, right? So this should be, I think this is it. This should be the level of, speed and efficiency that you can be at to be professionally obligated to fulfill all of your obligations in no time. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to complete them all. It's going to be able to, it's not technically possible or practically possible. So try and get on these little features that will save you a lot of time, at the same time keep you compliant with Law Society, and also be able to keep your firm's health at its best by understanding what have you made this particular year, what have you made this particular quarter, what was your loss, has there been any extra expense on a specific category, do you need to work on anything, is it a monthly, is it a yearly, is it a quarterly, whatever insights that you're looking for, try and, play around with it. And these softwares always throws in surprises. They cannot be completely wrong. They are, in fact, to the point most of the times, because even human makes mistakes, but according to me, softwares do not make mistakes, at least the numbering and other things. So try and, make the best use of resource that is available to you and take help to, not just stay compliant, but also fulfill all of your obligations in no time. So that is what I wanted to convey as part of today's Everything Practice Management webinar. And I hope you all enjoyed. And this session is being recorded. For those of you who joined a little late, do not worry. The session will be available on our YouTube platform probably by this weekend or maybe middle of next week maximum. I'm also going to post the attendance link for you over here. And once again, the topic for today's session, Everything Practice Management, and thanking each and everyone joining in today and showing your support. We are yet to update the next few webinars on our platform, so please hang in tight. We try and do a CPD every alternate week, and we're also trying to get more CPDs in. So I will encourage each and every one of you present here today to try and join in every Friday, 2 to 3 p.m. Refer your friends, and there's so much that you can do to help each other stay compliant with Law Society by using our software and professionally obligated to and make sure that you're all taken care of. I'm going to just cut short the recording by pausing it or stopping it, but I'm going to hang in here for a few more minutes. Any of you have any questions at all, please shoot out. Please use the chat window. I would be happy to let you all know the answers immediately. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend.